Here's Patrick Johnston of the Province and Postmedia. He covers the Vancouver Canucks, and he is at development camp at UBC and excited, apparently.
I'm just thrilled to be here. You know, I mean, I was just still in, so it took the e-bike to go get the Evo. Am I allowed to say that? Certain car share company. Can bleep it out. Certain car share company which operate Priuses. So there we go.
There you go.
And often when I'm riding around on my e-bike, I go down Still Creek in Burnaby and I go past Destination Toyota in Burnaby. So
wow.
Look, and they've got a BZ4X.
BZ4X.
Yeah. And they got a big banner across the top. So I'm at least aware of the vehicle. I haven't driven one, but I'm aware.
We got to get you in one.
Yeah.
Vancouver, give me the big picture here, Patrick, after the draft and free agent. We haven't talked to you since last Thursday. What is your assessment of what the Vancouver Canucks have done or perhaps haven't done?
Well, this was the plan the whole time, right? To roll it all back, right?
Yeah, they were so good. Let's do it again.
It is all a bit of a surprise as the kids roll through from the UBC summer camp in the background. So apologies for the noise, but no, it was. There's Molly. Sorry, I brought the kid with me. No,
sorry, who was that?
That was Molly. She just.
Oh, hi, Molly. Yeah, she's adorable.
Anyway, but yes, roll it all back. Bring everybody back. That was all the talk behind the scenes and in front of the camera, as they said we're going to have to trade for a second line center, and it turned out they traded for a big bet $5 million winger, and they brought back Brock Besser, and the only thing they couldn't get back was Pius Suter. So. I'm a bit surprised. I guess I'm not surprised. You know, I mean, I said, as I said after the Besser signing, I said, I guess we're surprised, but also not surprised.
Why not?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm not the only one who's been poking around on the Besser situation since he was not traded at the deadline when everyone thought he should be traded at the deadline. And, you know, here's a guy that management was claiming they couldn't get a first-round pick for, which, you know, they certainly had an offer at one point for the first-round pick. But they didn't get the value they thought they would. They didn't think he was worth anything, and now he's worth $50 million. Now, I am clearly a huge Brock Besser fan, so I am very pleased for the player to get paid. He was going to get paid somewhere, and I think to the Vancouver Canucks' benefit, they will get the player they think they're paying for. He has been a very good player the last couple seasons. They obviously would love him to stay fully healthy and hit that 30-goal mark every season. But on the whole, he shows up, he scores, he's a good two-way player. He is not an elite winger, but he is a very good winger, and he will make this team better. They simply, I think, got up to the window and realized there was nobody left and said, well, we need someone to play right wing, and we certainly know this guy, and we know he'll come back, and he did. So that's good. I mean, I think this team is better off with Brock Besser on it. I'm still not sure about Evander Kane. And there's a lot of what ifs in general. As we've said, this team had 90 points. They didn't make the playoffs. And now it's coming back without JT Miller and without Pius Suter. And it's a big bet on Phil Hedl. This team is a lot of big bets. It's a big bet that Thatcher Demko, who was good. I also talked to his agent, Jordan Newman, who said my player is fully healthy. So this is a guy that believes in himself and is a bet on himself. And you know what? To his credit, go get it done. But it is a bit of a Jim Rutherford situation from 2 years ago where Jim went and said, we need a lot of things, probably everything, to go right. And I kind of feel like we're batting that spot because in the end, the situation down the middle, more than anything, is not as clear as it once was. And I think that is the biggest issue that still glares out at me about this team, in terms of, at least in terms of hockey playing ability.
Is there more left here for the Canucks? What do you think they are thinking at this moment about their forward set in particular?
Well, I think they know they would rather have a different mix at center. Teddy Bluger, I think you'd like to upgrade on Teddy Bluger. I think you'd like to give more minutes to Atu Ratu. But I don't know how you do that. You're kind of set up the way you are set up, and they're going to have to find – I mean, they would like to have more depth down the middle. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I like Philip Hedl. I think Hedl did well when he was playing, but to expect him to play an entire season, given what we've already experienced with him in concussion, I just don't think that's a strong, safe bet. And all of a sudden, who's your second line center, right? Like, you'd rather have him filling in or someone, if you had Pius Suter, that's not terrible. It's not JT Miller, but you're still doing okay. But it just, everything feels like it's very much on a pinhead. Can we balance it all on this tiny little point and make it all work? And if we're really good at it, maybe we will. But it just feels to me like one of those ones where, yes, they absolutely need more, but I just am not sure how they're going to do it. I mean, I suppose they could still trade Tom Wielander or Elias Pettersson or Jonathan Lekkerimäki. I just don't know if that's bringing back a second line center.
The theory is that once Ehlers decides that the Ehlers signing precipitates trade season again here in the NHL. Do you buy that?
Knows what's up. I guess. I mean, I just don't see us in a spot now where like one guy. There's not a lot left. And I just don't know who's really, really, truly looking to shuffle the deck the way the Vancouver Canucks have been claiming they've been wanting to shuffle the deck. I'm skeptical that it's going to take all. That's all that takes. We've seen so much happen already.
Yeah.
I never say never, and it's a long summer, and trades do happen. But we're not in the world of the blockbuster anymore. Everything is very difficult to make happen. I mean, yes, Mikko Rantanen got traded twice, but you look at those trades. And they took a lot of stuff the Canucks don't have. The Canucks don't have a ton of picks to trade. They don't have a ton of prospects to trade. They don't have a Logan Stankoven in their back pocket. It's a very difficult spot the Canucks find themselves in.
Do you think there's any world where, after the re-signing of Derek Forbort, bringing in Pierre-Olivier Joseph, the progression of Kirill Kudryavtsev this past season, do you think there's any world where they have to look at themselves and say, it's got to be DPD if we're getting that second line center?
I mean, we've talked about him before, sure. I certainly, in his, I guess it's his rookie season, did he play? I don't remember how many, but his cameo that we saw, I mean, we saw a lot. It was good. Did we see a player that stands out in a way that everyone's going to, oh my God, I have to have this guy. This guy is the next Gustav Forsling, and I'm not sure we're at that point. We're at the point where, he's an NHL defenseman, but there's a lot of teams that have guys like him. Would they like to add him? Sure. It's nice to have a young guy on a cheap contract. Absolutely. I'm just not sure that's a guy on his own that, again, brings you what you need.
Yeah. We're back to the do they and we value him more than the rest of the league. But, the reports were everyone was asking for him, calling him.
Yeah, sure. So. Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, everyone can ask for him, but, like, really, what are you getting? Like that.
Well, second line center, or
sure,
at least the centerpiece, or a second. If Rossi for DPD and a something else. I mean, that's what I'm wondering if they're staring down the barrel.
But I mean, you're looking at
15th overall and a player didn't get it done. No. Sounds like that player was Dakota Joshua, if you can believe the Dollywall report that they're souring on him. If that wasn't enough, well, DPD is certainly an upgrade on Dakota Joshua in terms of an asset.
Yeah.
And I understand them not wanting to make that move because you love what you saw in the young man, and he gives you a profile on defense that you don't have, and he's young and cheap and all of those things. Plus, it's fun having two Elias Petterssons on the team. Yeah. But, I just do wonder if they're going to get that move done, if it's now going to have to include one of those assets, and particularly this one that they have previously been unwilling to surrender.
Yeah, in the end, I think I just go. I think you've nailed it, Matt. It's that the package concept that they've had so far has not been enough. So does that? They clearly need to add more. If that's really what they're going to go do, if it's going to get a Rossi or somebody like that, they're going to have to go bigger than they've been willing to go so far. And like the other, part of the yes, we know that they're hot after Rossi, but like, is he when you sit back and you go, okay, is he really the solution? Is that really? I mean, I like the player, but given what we think this team needs, which is more guys, not personality-wise, perhaps like Evander Kane, but playing style-wise, they need guys like that. Marco Rossi is not that. I do like the skill set. I think he makes this team better. I'm just not sure he's the guy to throw a huge package after, because there are always things that can be done. It's just the Canucks just don't have a lot to do it. That's still
not a huge package, but if it's a medium package, like Marco Rossi on a contending team can be your 3C.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yes. But as this team's a long way from continue. I think you need someone in front of him. Among the bets, and this is my column today, among the bets is, Elias Pettersson returning to the form that we last saw in January 2024.
That's a given. That's a baseline.
A long list of things, right?
Yeah.
And those alone, if you were going to become a contending team, let alone a playoff team, you need more engines, right? The spine of the team has a huge gap in it, and there's just
my point is as long as you don't overpay for the contract as well when you acquire Marco Rossi. First of all, there's the cost of acquisition. Then you have to sign the player, and as long as that money is not too crazy, 3 years down the road, when you think you might be a contender, I think he's still fine on your team. He's not going to be the engine that's driving your team, but I think he's still a nice player to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking sign and trade there too. We mentioned in the opening block. There's talking sign. The agent's talking sign and trade now. Apparently,
to get the 8th year.
Yeah. But he's RFA. Does he qualify for the 8th year?
Sure.
No, you have to be 27.
Does he be 27? Oh, okay.
No, it's UF. It's a UF. No, it's a UFA.
Yeah. What is more surprising or maybe outrageous to you, that they're going to pay 12.5 on right wing for Besser and Kane, or they'll be spending 13 on goaltenders starting in 26, 27?
I think it's the goaltender part. The more and more it goes back looking at extending Kevin Lankinen, and Kevin Lankinen was fine, and he was having a really good season when they cut the deal, and he kind of came back to earth a little bit. And he's a fine NHL goalie. There is no doubt about that. And let's recognize this. And I said this on Blue Sky. The Oilers' lesson clearly is that you need to spend a little bit more on goaltending than they have. I really think that. I'm not sure it's the extreme of going $10 million to Sergei Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky's been great, but the Canucks have paid Thatcher Demko, Connor Hellebuyck money. He was a Vezina finalist last year. That's the thing we I think perhaps have forgotten. He was second in Vezina voting in 2024. That is an outstanding goalie. We know that he can be outstanding on form. The problem is that 3 years in a row, he has suffered an injury that has kept him out for some time and has led you to wonder if this is sustainable. Now, when he is on and healthy, we know he is an excellent goalie, and that is the bet the player has made here. He took a 3-year deal. He'll be 33. He is betting that he is going to get another big deal when he's 33. He's got the AAV he's been after, and he should be able to perform, assuming he remains healthy, right? This is a guy that has been in that conversation, and rightly so. Now, is it still worth paying $13 million to your goalies? And I guess with the world going, the cap is going up, and you can sort of sit back and okay, well, by the time this one starts, you're starting to see a world where the Eric Ekman-Larsson cap penalty goes down, and you're not carrying McCabe's contract anymore, and it just seems like a strange allocation of funds and a strange process. Because Charlie Lindgren signed for less. As far as I know, he does not live in a low tax state. He just signed for less. And this is a team that I have to eat my hat a little bit here. A couple months ago, I think I said there are no goalies coming. There are clearly goalies coming. And I don't mean Artur Shilov. Nikita Kolopilo, they clearly believe in. Ty Young had a good year. This Medvedev kid, I think I'm saying it now, is going to be the goalie of the future, right? That everything that's been said about this kid. And the talent he has, and the sort of baseline he has established himself, and he's only 17.
And the confidence, he's confidence,
kid.
Everything's there. So, you can sort of see the succession plan is that one of these two guys is going to be in their contract, and Medvedev's going to be the other goalie. But it does come back to Demko needing to perform and Lankinen being. Lankinen, when he has not been had to lean on, he was fine. That was the story of the season. He was a pretty good goalie when they didn't have to lean on him. As soon as he started having to make multiple, 4 or 5 starts in a row, that's when he started hitting the wall. And on the whole, on the season, that probably added up as well. So
name the goaltender forward team. That's my concern. Is hey, you're not upset that you have good goaltending.
Yeah.
Who's the team in the NHL that is goaltender forward? That's their calling card. That's their mode to winning. There's nobody.
The understanding is you need to build a strong defense core in front of that, plays smartly in front of the goalie, gives the goalie enough time to see the puck. And then if the goalie's good enough, he can stop you to where you need to be. And of course, the Oilers got good enough goaltending to get themselves to the Stanley Cup final. But in the end, one of the many reasons they lost was because they didn't have a big game goalie. And the Canucks are making a bet that their big game goalie is going to be exactly that for 4 more years.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I delight in bickering with you, Peach, but how are Florida and Tampa not goaltender forward with Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky?
Because their MVPs and the trophy-winning players are the ones that are driving that team. You know, I'm not saying you don't want good goaltending. Of course you want good goaltending. Yeah. But gone are the days where Patrick Waugh drags a team where Pekka Rinne drags an otherwise non-playoff team to the play, exactly. Roberto Luongo.
That's how you're defining it.
Yeah,
show me a goaltender that pulled an ugly duckling team to the Stanley Cup final.
No playoffs, just even to the playoffs. Like there's no
Jean-Sébastien Giguère.
Those teams don't exist anymore. Like you want a good goalie, but
Dominic Hasek,
Smythe. But okay, all right.
No,
in the playoffs it can be different.
Matt, no, listen, your point is reasonable that you need a good goalie. That's the point. But you don't have to have a goalie that's everything. And name the backup goalie in Florida or Tampa. That's kind of the point, is that they've churned through guys behind their number one.
Right.
And the Canucks have locked in on two.
Because they have two of the best in the world.
Well, but look how many starts they've churned through with their backups, though, too. But Bob and Vasilevsky do not play 65, 70 games anymore. They've been smartly deployed, and they play very, very well, and then they play in the playoffs.
And they're durable. They don't get hurt.
And that's the other big point. That's exactly it.
So have you answered our Whistler Golf Club poll question? Evander at 5.125 or Pius at 4.125 over 2 with a pick? What's your preference?
Pius, the Swiss Army knife factor is just so there. I don't think he's an out-and-out number 2C, but he's a guy that's great as your third-line center, and he is a very handy second-line winger. And kills penalties, and obviously, career-high season. He's not going to score 25 goals again.
No.
Watch me eat my hat. But the all-around...
There's so many...
Yeah.
I see so much because I've stand for Pius even before yesterday, and I've got so many people in my mentions saying he's not going to score 25 goals again or shoot whatever percentage he shot. That is so missing the point. The value in this player is not exclusively in his shooting percentage or his goals per game or his goals per game or goals per season. Yeah. It's everything else that he does, plus he secures the most important, or does more to secure the most important position on the ice, or one of them, center ice.
Yeah,
I don't see I love Evander Snarl too. I love the story. I love the physicality. I supported that deal, but because I think they need to take some big swings, and this was relatively low cost. At 4 years, albeit the $5 million isn't great. But either do Pius Suter or do both of these, and find a way to clear some other cap.
I am not a fan of plus minus as a raw stat, but I will say this: look at Pius Suter's career plus minus. He's an even player on his career. He spent 3 seasons playing for Chicago and Detroit.
Right.
He played for some pretty bad teams before he came to Vancouver, and then he was on a not great team this past season, and he was +2, and he played heavy minutes down the stretch. This is a guy that does not get scored on. He's a very, very good player. And listen, I get fans. They like seeing goals. They like seeing exciting, flashy players. I get it. Those are the ones that draw their attention. And Pius Suter does not draw their attention the same way. And they get caught up on exactly what you said, that he's not going to score another 25 goals. Well, that's not the point. He has been a competent, very solid two-way player for his entire NHL career. And he is coming off the best season of his career, and it was proof in the pudding that this guy, no matter the circumstance, shows up and he gets it done. And this is going to be a big hole. I mean, I talked about JT Miller off the top, but this is another hole that they have to fill. Like, this is a guy that did so many things well and in all facets. Listen, Teddy Blueger works hard, and I've appreciated him as a penalty killer, but he is not an offensive threat. And he is not going to replace those minutes at all. So
and as we talked about in the first segment, you're only two other penalty killing forwards who played more than a minute per night on the shorthanded unit, Kiefer Sherwood and Drew O'Connor. So there's a sizable hole there.
Can you remind me who Drew O'Connor is?
Yeah, Blake is
$2.5 million. What is a Drew O'Connor?
He's fast.
Drew O'Connor is a guy that came up early in a discussion with Jim Rutherford when Jim still answered my calls.
Jim's a Pittsburgh guy, or sorry, Drew's a Pittsburgh guy.
We were talking about finding guys, in college free agents and building them into a little bit more than they'd been. And he was a big fan of Drew O'Connor, so it was not a surprise when he was brought into the Vancouver. Nor was it a surprise that they signed him to an extension as quickly as they did. And I really like Drew O'Connor. I enjoy watching him play, but at the same time, he should be down the list. He should be down the roster. And is he worth $2.5 million? Well, I mean, everything. It's called inflation, I guess, Blake. But,
I mean, like Pius Suter's a smidge above that. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Part. I mean, as soon as I saw what he went for, I was like, and again, Shirley James was all over the tax aspect, and that. Listen, even then, what you would need to sign for would be 4.8, I think, and like, I'm fine with Pius Suter with that. Like, I really think that's. I think people undersell the value of this player, and St. Louis has gotten a great player. I think we get too focused on the counting stats, and we don't focus enough on everything else. And Pius Suter, to me, is worth that. And so the Canucks couldn't snag him. Whichever direction you want to take, whether it's his choice or their choice, you can draw your own conclusions.
Just quickly, are you hearing likewise they're souring on Joshua, that if a salary has to go out to get that 2C, he's going to be the one?
I had not heard Joshua. I had heard Blueger, but I'm also not.
Well, Teddy. You're trading Teddy. You're trading the both penalty kill. You'll lose both your primary penalty killers,
as much as
the guy who's taking the face off.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense of that's a hole we see that you'd like to push him down on. Like, as our third line, Teddy Blueger should not be our third line center, essentially.
No.
That's what lines up right
Yeah.
now.
Okay. You mentioned pudding. Molly lit up there. She's thinking pudding pop, ice cream at the rink. So go be dad. Thank you for this, and we'll catch up next week.
Take care, guys.